Hey guys, it's Chris from eXp Educators, and man, are we excited today. Our organization has grown yet again with Debbie and Greg and their whole gang. You may know Debbie McMillan from multiple transactions on the west side of Indianapolis and all over the place. They have been a top performing team as long as I have known them, and that's many, many days. I think Debbie and I got together back in the KW days and had multiple chit chats before that with cross transactions and other things. They are a top performing team. They are the realtor's realtor. Couldn't be more excited to have them join an eXp. Would love to tell their story, but it sounds better when it comes from them. So I'm going to let them do their talking today. And I'm just going to ask a few questions, and we're going to just let it rip and see how it goes. But Debbie and Greg, welcome to the family, to the organization. We could not be more excited that you're here. Has been a bit of a journey to get here, I do believe. And would love to have you guys tell your story. So tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I started in real estate out of, I'd worked at a Fortune 500 company and was doing some contracts negotiations when we had our first baby, and I decided to stay home, and that lasted about a year. And then we got to thinking, well, I could sell a little bit of real estate on the side to make up some income, because I was still doing 100 different things. When I decided to stay home, that just meant find a bunch of different projects and things. So anyhow, we decided that maybe I should, instead of canning and gardening, do this. So got my license to do 3 or 4 deals, went to work for a very part-time, it was a little mom and pop company. And like I said, the goal was to sell 3 to 5 homes a year. And the first month I sold 5 homes. And so we started doing the math and, went, oh, that's not bad. So that kind of started the process. And it was a nice company, but I could only grow to a certain point there. And I was reaching a place where there was really no training, no help. So I ended up joining Coldwell Banker, Wall & Associates, and they actually purchased the building that my husband had a State Farm agency practice in back then. And so we were working out of that building, and it worked out really well with the kids. I got my license in 1988, and in 1990 around 1989, 90, my board let me have a computer at home, which was I think they said at the time there's only 10 agents, but I figured if I had a computer, I could look up listings and work from the house a little bit. And it was that the teletype thing that we had. I don't know if you have to be really old in this business. I mean, no pictures, nothing. So started
Lots
in that.
Noise.
And yeah, it was really old. So anyhow, let me turn that off. I'm sorry. But so solo calling. Okay. So I was doing that, and we decided that time the big player was FC Tucker. And when I went to first I went to Coldwell Banker. They were good guys. And again, I grew to a certain point, wasn't growing beyond that, was really frustrated. At the time, it sounds funny now, but I just couldn't hit 2 million. I would get up to 1.8 million, and it was 2 million was just a illusion to me. So, so we decided, okay, if we're going to get serious about this, let's go to FC Tucker. So I went to FC Tucker, and I think I was pregnant with our second baby that time. And again, I had my computer I could do from home. I actually bought at one point several fax machines, and I would put them in clients' homes that they could use to fax paperwork back and forth, so I didn't have to get out as much back before the internet and stuff. So, collect them and move them around stuff. Anyhow, I was doing some kind of crazy things there back then. And Tucker, my first year, I went over 5 million. So I was real excited about what happened, and my business took off there. I had really great management team that supported me, and when I ran into problems, was just right there for me. And so it soared. By the end of the last 3 years I was there, I sold more homes than anybody else in the company. I wasn't doing, I have to sell about 5 homes to equal some of the north side homes. So I wasn't selling as much volume, which would have been nice because the dollar was a little bit better with the volume part. But the units, I think I was like 108, 112, something like that at that point. But anyhow, so we were doing well. And then they came out with a policy that for me was going to cost me a lot more money because of the units I was doing, and I didn't like it. I started looking at how much money I was paying them a year, and we got to thinking, hey, we could probably own our own company for that. And so we checked, and there was a Century 21 franchise available in Hendricks County. And so we bought that franchise strictly not to build a whole business of agents under, but just to run my team under and keep my costs down. Sure. So that was the goal, was to do that. So we joined Century 21 1999. I was the #1 team in the Northwest or North Central District, I think, for Century 21. I know, and I can't remember if that was the year we did like 147 transactions, I think was the most I ever did in one year. Wow. And at that point, I did have an assistant that was working with me. And then we realized we needed to leverage more, and I got a buyer agent to start helping. I think, today that sounds crazy, but I think the paperwork was maybe like a fraction of what we do today. The transactions, I'd say it seemed easier or something, because I could never, the number of transactions I was doing back then with the size of staff I had, I don't think it'd be possible today, or at least I wouldn't be able to sleep. So if that was it. So, it was just, but at that point we felt like Century 21 was going some places, and they had some pretty cool software, some different things that they offered that were lead management stuff that was nice tools. And I really liked them. I know after a few years we were there, I ran across the Millionaire Real Estate Agent that Gary Keller wrote, and that just totally changed my mindset. That book was just, I never knew that someone had actually, sat down and, put together what it takes to build a business, leverage number of units, number of phone calls. I mean, it's just the scientific research that went into that, I guess would be the best way to describe it. It was
100%.
It was like, oh, if I do X, I can get this result. The formulas were all there, and I don't think there's anything like it even today that's from that type of a how-to book. But anyhow, so I started looking at that, and I'd heard that Keller Williams was in Indiana, and I thought, wow, it's been cool, but I'm in a franchise, so so be it. That was that. So years went on, and the market got a little bad. In 2006, the end of 2006, we built a new office building over by Boulder Creek, and we were thinking at that point we were going to go out and bring in agents and maybe an office at that point too. Although both me and my business partner's heart was in selling. We just like selling. But we thought, hey, we would from time to time have agents, and they were good agents that come to us and say, can we work with your office? And we there's no room. Sorry. And so we thought, hey, we'll do this. Well, we didn't pick the best year to open up. It was I want to say November, December 2006, part of 2007. And of course, the market was going into a free fall. So that was not fun. So anyhow, we had that building, and our franchise was coming up for renewal, and we were trying to figure out what to do. We were negotiating whether or not to maybe join another Century 21 office and maybe kind of merge our businesses and be an office under that office brand, or whatever. And in the process of that, I called a friend of mine that was with Keller Williams, not realizing she was actually one of the owners of the Indiana part of Keller Williams. And so she started meeting with me and saying, why don't you look at Keller Williams? And as a result of that, we paid a lot of money to buy out my last contract with Century 21. But I mean, they were at that point, and it's kind of funny because we thought we were doing really well with them, because when you still have to pay the franchise fee to them. Sure. Even if you own the business, there is no cap. Is like, they would laugh at, what's the cap, huh? Yeah. But
it's invisible.
There was cap. Okay, so I think our last year they made about $63,000 off of our sales, and so.
Wow.
Again, I'm looking at this going, okay, I'm not even an owner, and I can go to Keller Williams for a fraction of that. Mm-hmm. So, it didn't make sense. I'm not into being able to brag about being an owner. I just much rather make the money. So, I was kind of at that point where the other just really didn't matter as much. So we worked out a deal, bought out our Century 21 contract it was like a year left on it, and went to Keller Williams. Mm-hmm. And so, and I loved, Keller Williams, the neat thing in my progress, I think of as an agent was each company I went to, I learned a whole new type of information, things to do. And Keller, I'm real into training, learning, so there was so many, there was just a wealth of things on the net that I could get to. I went to Family Reunion, which is I guess the what do you call it, the convention, company convention. Exactly. And that's what tries my accountant. That's when I call it Family Reunion. It says the IRS does not give money off for family reunions. Yes. But that's how we labeled it. So
yeah, exactly.
But I couldn't believe the number of top producers and how they were willing to just share all their information, mm-hmm. and the growth that was there. I to this day, I think Gary is brilliant. Gary was just one of the great guys of our time. I just have a great deal of respect for him. And so Agreed. I really never saw myself changing companies. I was very, very happy, and I don't like change. That's probably one of the biggest things. I am not a big person for change, but when we ended up taking and shutting the Brownsburg facility for Keller Williams down, I ended up having to move around and figure out where I was going. Mm-hmm. And market had changed so much, and we found the interesting thing at that point, and it was like we moved, I think 2 weeks before COVID hit, which was also really lovely. Greg, my husband Greg, got to he got to help move me all over the place that year. But anyhow, so we have this big old truck, and I don't know, it's done its business a lot. But anyhow, we were trying to figure out where to go, and I told him, I said, in the last year, and we had an incredible location. It was very, very prevalent in the community. So everybody saw our sign, mm-hmm. but we were averaging at the most one walk-in a year. People just were not coming into the business from the street. Like years ago when I started the Century 21, we had walk-ins all the time. And all of a sudden, nobody's walking in. And so I still was of the mindset I had to have a building with a sign and all that stuff on it. And so I dragged Greg to, I think, every commercial building, house for sale in the town, trying to figure out, what would it cost to remodel this to make it work? What would we do? And we were going back and forth, and I was running out of time because another person had bought the building where we were in, and I needed to get moved. And so I finally said, well, there's this building down the road that's like a multi-office thing that people use. And I know there's some realtors over there. Maybe as last resort, I should look at that and temporarily move in there and try to figure out what I'm doing. And so we went over there, and it was funny. We just walked in, and I went, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable, because it had a large open area where you could meet some with people. Then they had several conference rooms that you can also use at the facility, in addition to the office suites that we rent. And so originally I thought, well, I'll just rent this part-time, for now. It doesn't require a long lease, and when I find something better, I'll move to it. Well, we moved in, COVID happened, and all of a sudden we were forced to do everything pretty much online. Nobody was going, even your employees weren't going to the office. So it was like, okay, this is different, but we were finding our business was not shrinking. There was still plenty of business out there, and people were fine with not coming to the office to do business. And in fact, they kind of liked the convenience. And all of a sudden, I think maybe I was doing, I don't know for sure, but maybe 30-40% of my purchase agreements and stuff might have been done with internet before COVID. After COVID, I think 99.9. I mean, who writes a purchase agreement, or who draws one up in front of the client? We just, so all of a sudden, and then I started looking at, and that's kind of part of what drew me to eXp, because I'd heard their model. And originally I thought, and I know you and I have been talking for goodness, long time.
Couple days.
I'm surprised you didn't stop talking to me. But anyhow, so I kept thinking, well, they say, the business is in the clouds. We don't have to have that big office with the big sign. And, it's like when I was at Tucker, they built this huge building and we had I had a cool office and big sign, all that. But they're saying, you don't really need that bricks and mortars anymore. And I thought, well, this is starting to show that maybe I don't. And that there's so much flexibility when, we still have offices that people can meet in, but at the same time, nobody has to. And the signage thing, not having a big sign in front of the building, it didn't change the people doing business with us. So it's like all of a sudden I realized that, the model, maybe there was something to that part of the model. I'll give you that. And
it might work.
So, and I think about too, is like during the COVID period, I, because I was doing, it was a little different work situation, I fell in love with him. And so we started doing things more and more together. And we started talking about, he was watching my business and what was going on. And I started telling him about eXp, and that, that was something that was kind of in the back of my head as maybe a model I should consider, but I'm happy, and why rock the boat, type of thing. But Greg was a lot more. He's been in the business world, and he's not. What would I say? You're. But when he was
not a D personality. Yeah,
you're very, very much. I mean, they in the Army they called him Cold Steel. That was his nickname. So making decisions that were in your best interest was not a problem for him, even if it meant severing, a situation where you're like just really tied into something. So he kept saying, look at the pros and the cons, and you're not hurting. You're still friends with everybody, And so we started looking at what was, and I think too at that point we were deciding. We decided when we decided to get married, Greg was saying he was bored with what he was doing and wanted a new challenge, and so he was looking for a business to take on. And I'm the challenge, I'm the business. So anyhow, so we started talking about that, and I think part of that too is kind of looking at opportunities. And clearly, when we started boiling down the what do I have here versus what can I have there, there was opportunities that I didn't have. And we started talking about too, my team, a lot of the people on my current team are older, and they're going to be retiring totally in the near future. And what do I have in a retirement program? What is it that's there for them that could help them financially? What can I leave a legacy that can be passed down? And I think for me, that was probably I was happy where I was. I could do my own business. It's like, I think anybody that is a top producer, you can go anywhere and run your company. You can be, John Smith Realty or whatever, and you'd be fine. I like having a national company name with me because I think there's an empowerment there, particularly when you're dealing with people on higher price points. That I just think it offers more there. But at the same time, I think any good top producer could go anywhere.
Sure.
And so why? Because your clients love you. They don't, it's like I've told them before when I moved, and I learned that the first time I moved, that everybody said, I don't care where you are. It's like, I'm here with you. You're the one that fights for me when I've got a deal going or whatever. You're the one that helps me price things. So I realized it wasn't going to change that part of my business.
Sure.
But where would the opportunities, because everything's changing. Where do you find the new buyers? Is there more, some of the things with KV Core that they offer, Is that a way to reach more people before they even start the buying process and get into their heads and start, working with them and looking at how the systems were put together. It was just, I think it was fascinating, and we liked the opportunity. So finally, I don't know, at one point I was kind of panicking, and Greg said, "You've got to make a decision." It's like, either do it or don't, stop it, because I would be back and forth. And, and it just boiled down to, I chose eXp because I felt like the opportunities for me and the people who work with me are just far more than anywhere else. There isn't another company that offers these things. And if everything, I think, if everything fell apart, I can still go to somewhere else or go back. That's not an issue. But what I'm seeing, I feel like that eXp, it's kind of, each time I moved, I felt like I was going with more of the cutting edge people that were having their finger on where the market's moving, because that market moves.
Sure
and
does.
You can't be stagnant. I mean, it just, there's times I hate that, because I feel like I've been doing this since 1988, so I'm old. And
starting out of high school is no big deal.
Right. Yeah. But anyhow, so I felt like, where is it going to take us? The best way. And I think, between my gut from doing real estate, what I was seeing, and then I went to Greg, and and he sat down from a business standpoint, and he's also really good with understanding stock and all that stuff. So he analyzed, and it was funny because the first time I think we talked about it was about a year and a half, maybe before, year and a half ago, and the stock wasn't as good. And so he was looking at it, and he was like, I don't, but this time when we went back, you had a whole different view.
Absolutely. Totally different perspective.
Yeah. So, and that made me feel a lot more confident, because again, he doesn't say something if he doesn't think it's right. So that kind of took us to a different place. And then we started looking at, well, how can we create this, to organize it so we take advantage of both our strengths. And that's when we decided to join eXp and make this like a team experience for the two of us. And then hopefully bring that into the people we work with and others who will hopefully join us so that we can keep up with the market.
Sure. Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure.
Because the way you guys have blended this together is just fantastic. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, to have this kind of partnership is really exciting.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is, Chris. It's a partnership. The name of our company is Home Link Partners, and probably the number one partner in that partnership is us.
Yes.
And we want to offer opportunity to other people. I started my career basically at Bayer Corporation, one of the largest multinational corporations in the world. Mm-hmm. They were looking for junior military officers out of the military. They were looking for people who thought outside the box, because as you well know, in corporate America, there's a silo mentality, where if you're brought up there, that's the way you think, and that's just the way we do things. And that system was broken. So they needed somebody to come in and be a disruptor. So therefore, they went to the military. Mm-hmm. I was serving overseas in Europe. I was working with nuclear weapons. I was also working with our NATO allies and got a chance to work with them, see how things are done outside the United States. Not only that, but I was working operations and tactics, later promoted into command. So I had a vast array of experience that Bayer wanted to tap into. Mm-hmm. I joined Bayer Corporation. They were launching a brand new anti-infective that was to change the face of America. For the first time, they can actually treat patients with a tablet instead of in the hospital $1,000 a day. That was a game changer back then. Oh, yeah. And I was a part of that launch team, and it was very, very exciting. There was a lot of buzz. It turned into a blockbuster, one of the first billion-dollar drugs in America.
Wow.
So it was a very exciting time. I really cut my teeth on science, tactics, operations, again, borrowing from my military experience in order to apply it to corporate America. Mm-hmm. It became one of the fastest growing anti-infectives that was ever seen in American history. It was extremely successful. Even the government extended the patent of that drug because of its viability. So it was a pretty exciting time. Based on our success, I was moved over to antihypertensives. brand new marketplace, brand new type of situation, still involved with sales and marketing. That's where I cut my teeth. Very effective there, taking market share from other types of corporations on the ground level. That's where you really learn how to separate the men from the boys. Trying to get that market share, capture that, and being able to make it part of your own corporation was essential. It was a key to success. Based on my success there, I was moved over into diagnostics, basically a different type of devices that Bayer was just beginning to launch. We were part of that launch team to basically initiate devices for Bayer Corporation. It was a brand new initiative. So again, I was right on the cutting edge of that. It was a great experience. Based on that, I was promoted to medical science. This is where you design your own studies and submit them to the Food and Drug Administration based on research and development, getting different types of physicians and investigators in order to get your products to the market, and then designing exactly a market analysis for where you're going to position that. That's where I really started looking at being an expert and a professional in marketing. And based on that, I was promoted into product management in the corporate headquarters, where I became the lead product manager for their #1 flagship product, which was immunoglobulins. And that was extremely exciting. I really found a home there. Marketing, sales, working with our large sales organization, GPOs, different types of organizations. I do a lot of speaking there, communication, also working with the government when it comes to pricing. How do you raise prices? When do you raise prices? What are the situation? Working with the Food and Drug Administration when there were crises. They wanted my experience based on the military to how to handle crisis, damage control, these kinds of things, press releases, all these kinds of initiatives. Then they decided after many years to sell the business, and they offered me basically a blank ticket. Whatever I wanted to do was fine. And I offered to go ahead and retire. And at that time, I had met Debbie and said I wanted to go ahead and apply all those essential characteristics and qualities and skill sets towards this company. And now we are pouring our lives into this company and make it a success. What does eXp offer us? Well, number one, it offers us opportunity. Debbie said she doesn't like change. I'm going to let you know a little secret, Chris. Nobody does. Unfortunately, it's a way of life. Change is a constant in our life.
Unless it's getting married to you. I like that change.
That's a good change.
I was good for that one. I was good that one.
But change is a constant. So you got to be able to move with that particular change. eXp offers us change. We are having to change, dramatic change in our marketplace that eXp is going to be able to capture and be on the forefront of. I'm used to that environment. I'm comfortable there. So therefore, we're moving into a cloud computing environment, moving away from office space. We're moving to a new format of exactly how business and real estate is going to be done in the future. eXp offers revenue sharing, for people. In other words, they're going to participate for the very first time with the profits of the corporation. And not only that, it's going to be totally transparent. It is a publicly traded company. So therefore, you can see the balance sheet. Yep. And based on the balance sheet, you can see exactly where eXp wants to go.
Sure.
They're going to vote with their feet. Everybody does, Chris. And so does eXp. Look where they put their money, and that's where they're voting. And they are voting right now. They're putting their cash when it comes to mergers, acquisition. They're making sure they have a very nice balance sheet so they can take care of opportunities on a go-forward basis. Not only that, but for employees, for people who want to join this company, it offers equity opportunities, not only options, but also purchase.
Yes.
And so this kind of opportunity is an opportunity that comes along only once in a lifetime. And that's why we're here.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. Because I was getting ready to say, let's talk about the journey has been fantastic for both of you, and kind of two different paths that the roads actually meet together now. And I was going to say, what is it? I think you started to touch on it, Greg. What you guys saw in eXp that was, others can judge whether it's better. That's for them to judge. Obviously, if you're here, it's better. But what did you see that was different from anything you had seen in the industry or in the current marketplace that just you went, wow, we're not talking apples and apples anymore?
Well, on the lighter side, I saw a 2x4 coming from my head from Debbie.
Perfect. Good time to duck.
That's right, time to duck. So I got used to that.
No, that was what he was doing when I wasn't committing. It's like, you've got to decide.
On the serious side, the word is participation. At corporate America, you're not allowed to participate in the benefits of the corporation. That's not possible.
Nope.
They don't expect you to do that. What they do expect is you to be married to that corporation 7 days a week, whatever the crisis is, 24/7. That's the job. But you cannot participate in the benefits of your hard work. To give you an example, at one time we had a molecule at the factory that turned pink. You can't have pink liquid going out in order to cure people's diseases. I know that's a shock to you, but you can't. So obviously they brought me in to fix the problem. They had no idea what the problem was. I had to analyze what the situation is. I got scientists involved. Come to find out that it had some iron in it. That was the reason for the pink color. The FDA would not allow us to sell that product.
Wow.
So therefore I had it refiltered. It came out clear. I submitted to the Food and Drug Administration, and that product was able to be put on the marketplace for millions and millions of dollars. Chris, this is going to shock you. I was not allowed to participate in that benefit.
Wow.
That is not the truth. That is not the case with eXp. I think that probably says it all, doesn't it?
It really does, because aside from being an equity holder in the business, as soon as you sell your first house, which for you guys has already happened, you barely even got here and you got sales just falling one by one.
It was a good start. I was going to say my first sale was 1.3 million. So I thought that was a good start. Okay.
That's not a bad day's work, huh?
For Hendricks County, it's a very good start.
Yes. And we are all happy for that, by the way, because a rising tide takes all boats up. And then, you started to talk about the revenue share, and, this is a company that, for contribution, where you guys come from, I think, you have a servant's heart, and you have so much knowledge to share with so many. It rewards you in leaps and bounds. I'm not going to talk in dollars and cents here because we don't want to get specific, but as you've seen in the model, there are people that have done exceptional lifestyles and changed lives dramatically. Whether it's just, you own a little stock today and 2 years later you look up and it doesn't seem like much and all of a sudden it's, a substantial sum. That equity position, I don't know of any other company that offers that on a publicly traded basis. And especially it's not agent centric. It's Wall Street centric that maybe somebody gets a little taste of, but this with us is very agent centric.
Right. Yeah. And I think too, the other part of it was, profit share is kind of a cool thing that Keller Williams offers, but it's almost like a mystical thing too. You never really know what until the 21st, and you look in your checking account to see what profit share is. And the thing that I found intriguing with rev share is I'll know every month where it's coming, what's coming. If I want to, I could look it up and figure it out very quickly. So there's no mystery involved in it. It's just clear cut. There's nobody, I like that. I like the idea of having that defined for me, because then I know, okay, if I do this, this, and this, I'm going to make this. It's back to I like the formulas. Once Gary Keller introduced the, if you make this many phone calls, the average person, if you have 12 people in your database, for every 12 people in your database that you service, this is what your sales are going to be. And you start looking at those numbers, and it gives you a way to not feel like when I first got in this business, and for years, I just felt like I had no control over where I was going. I knew that if I got up and did this and this and this, I'd probably make this much at least, but there wasn't a formula. And then you start seeing formulas and you go, okay, I can use this formula if I want to make more money, this is what I got to do.
Yeah.
So that I like that. And the rev share to me was a formula I could understand. I know there's some, as it grows, but hey, as it grows, it just means you'll make more.
Yeah.
So
there comes a point where you don't have to do the formula.
We can look at that, right? Yeah. But and I think too, it's like we are at a place where I mean, the money's money's important, but it's not. We don't have to do. We don't do this for the money. We want to make a difference. Want to make a difference in the world around us and give back to people that we feel like that there's things that we just want to be able to do, and even for me, I love helping new agents. That's always been a kick, to watch them their first sales, see them get on their feet, and sometimes it's almost unpredictable. I mean, you'll have somebody that you think, I don't know about that person, and they soar, and then somebody else will come in that you think is going to be really great, and they don't turn out to be quite so good. They just don't want to work. They have the ability. They just are like going, you mean I have to show up and work? But so. Yeah, but it is. I mean, I told Greg, I said, I think he's going to see that part is fun. When you find you're changing somebody else's life and you're helping them become financially secure, that kind of thing. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So, I like that.
And as you well know, I was fairly tenacious to stay with you and keep just pinging away because I'm like, if
you should have given up. You should have really given up on me a long time ago.
Why quit while you're still standing? But it's just, you see it and you're like, it's not about me. It's about how many people you can help and how many, how big it gets, nobody knows. But it's just, you have this knowledge and you have this experience. And you see people at times, I've seen them in every office I've been in that are just floundering, that you're like, if you would just, if I could do something to help you, and you try to help, but you can only do so much. And in this format, you can do as little or as much as you like, and the biggest thing is they're going to compensate you for your contribution. And you touched on the transparency, and you're absolutely right. From your sales to your accounting to your everything is just right there. It's real time. It is not. There's no man behind the mirror or behind the curtain making a decision that, oh, by the way, blah 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 blah, and ending up in smoke it goes. You see it, and guess what's going to happen on the 22nd of the month? It's going to magically be right where they said it was going to be. It may even be before that. A lot of times. It's weird because they'll be like, well, on a Friday you'll go, it's the 19th and your rev share is already there because they're like, we're not going to pay you on Sunday and hold it till Monday. We're kicking it out the door. I think because of Glenn's background, he gets that. He gets us, the agent, because he was an agent. I mean, what a lethal combination of a guy who worked at Microsoft, was on Wall Street, was an agent, and then started a real estate company. I mean, he might know a thing or two.
Well, and I think the other part of this for me is training wise, because, Greg knows how I am about, I do all this internet, this training. I've always loved listening to people that do more than me, that are better than me. And that was one of my concerns because there was so much that I was taking advantage of at KW. And I thought, and I just, already it's like sometimes I want to say slow down the spigot. It's like I get this thing after another that's being offered, and it's the thing my guys like is it's free. They kept saying every time we start doing a training it would be like an introductory, and if you really like this program for $199 a month you can participate, and so so it was that has been something too that has been a nice treat, is that there's so much free that's out there that if you want to know something you can find it.
And the best part is you're learning from the best of the best. That our experience at KW was very similar, that a lot of the the local training was very good because you were with your peers.
Right.
But when you wanted to get to the the best of the best, all of a sudden it was drive here, do this, do that, which was fantastic. And I, much like you, was a sponge and just absorbed it. But now that it's just right here on the computer, it's right. I don't have to leave my house. And if I miss it on Tuesday because something popped up, it's available right there in the cloud to go back and pick it up. It's not like I had a cold, I couldn't make it, so I lost it. I get to work with. Thanks. But yeah, it's fantastic. So kind of, I know you guys are super busy today. The transition is, you're just getting started. Anything that's been a surprise, obviously a good surprise, but just that you're excited about, looking forward, and where do you see this taking you, and so on and so forth.
I think we look forward to being a part of something much larger than ourselves. eXp offers us a chance to be a part of a community. No matter where we go, we're going to be a part of people who think and act just like us. And that's so imperative when it comes to being able to be successful. You need to be with champions. And that's what eXp offers us.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it is. It's exciting. And I see that same, the attitude of wanting to share. If I have something that is good, I can share, and you can share. And now we have two great ideas instead of just one each, having, and that ability. I love that. There's so many places where, agents won't share because they think, I'm going to keep this, so nobody else finds out. And yet we're all better. There's nothing that, it's like we compete, but we don't compete. It's like I've never been bothered by that. I mean, even though I think it's unacceptable to lose a listing, I know down deep I won't get them all.
Yes.
There's going to be somebody that just likes somebody else better, or Uncle Charlie got his license and we got to help Uncle Charlie. So I'm just I sometimes think, well, that's not right, but I don't control that. And the nice thing is, I feel like if you have the right attitude, we all can share with each other, and then we grow from that experience. And I love being with a company that has that kind of attitude.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts as we're kind of wrapping up here?
You're the closer. You want to close?
Well, I think anybody that's looking at eXp would be crazy if they didn't give it a long, hard look.
Yeah. It's at least we're checking out. I mean, Chris, you were, talking to me, and you never crammed it down my throat. So, it wasn't anything like that, but you just were open, and you kept the door open. And that was good because it just gave me time to really internalize, everything and look at it. And, it basically came down to, I truly believe that if I wanted to be at the place where I could grow the most and had the most opportunity for my team, as well as my husband and I, to take this to the next level and go anywhere with it, eXp was the place. So
fantastic. Yeah, it's the awesomeness of the ability to go wherever you want to go when you want to go there it's just, you can do that with other companies, but you can't. It's not like the global reach that we have here. And again, guys, we couldn't be more excited for you to be here. I want to thank you for your time. Gang, if you get a chance to do a deal with these guys, you will not be sorry. They are fantastic. It is a well-oiled machine over there. We are looking forward to growing leaps and bounds with you. Very excited for you and the team and the whole gang. And Greg and Debbie, you've been just wonderful to be in business with, and we just couldn't say enough positive things. I'll run out of daylight before I run out of positive things to say about you guys. Again, guys, if you get a chance, and you're doing a deal with them, you won't be sorry. They're just awesome. They're top performers. No matter where they go, they're top performers. You can see that. Want to thank you today for your time. And for everybody else, thanks again for checking out the channel. And we look forward to seeing you soon. And click the link below if you want some more information. And we'll talk to you guys real soon.